Welcome to Data Biome channel as part of Fabric Series 2026. Today we are going to explore about pipeline item. We are going to cover pipeline item in multiple parts as there are lots of activities which we should discuss to understand it better. So let's see what we are going to cover today. First we will understand about design and Fabric pipeline UI. Then we will focus on web activity, functions activity, filter activity, for each activity, if activity, and at the end, switch activities. Now, this is not a complete list of activities. There are lots to discuss. We will do in upcoming tutorials. But first, the question arises, why we are discussing about a design? When we say pipeline is nothing but a series of steps. Now that you can execute in sequential manner or parallel manner. But what we are going to do as part of these steps, how the pipeline will look like, what kind of auditing, security, data observability, what kind of auditing, logging, security, fault tolerance it needs. There are lots of key decisions you have to make, especially when you are designing a new pipeline. So first is architecture. Now we need to choose whether we are going to create a ETL where we are extracting, transforming and loading the data, or we are going to create the modern ELT pipelines, extract, load, transform. Or it can be even a event-driven architecture where some event will happen and then it will trigger the whole pipeline. There are other things too possible. It can be a webhook, it can be a polling architecture. There are lots and lots of possibilities in this space. But the key ones are whether it's an ETL pipeline, ELT pipeline, or event-driven pipeline. When you're creating any kind of ELT pipeline, these days there's a famous tool called dbt, which is used across all the major enterprises, data build tool. Second is ingestion. So you need to decide whether this will be a batch or streaming. Now some pipelines in the traditional world we used to process almost all data in batches, especially in field of analytics. But now the things have changed. Even we can create some kind of streaming pipelines, especially for the big data volumes or any kind of sensor data which needs to be processed as soon as possible. Scalability. So we need to make these pipeline highly scalable, especially when the volumes are high. You can use feature of parallelism, or you can partition your data to handle the growth of data. Pipeline needs to be reliable, so you need to ensure idempotency. Now this is one of the key point. So when you rerun in case of any failure, you need to ensure the pipeline is not creating any kind of duplicates or inconsistency. Otherwise it will mess up your data. And you need to also decide on retry logic. So when some failure happen, how many retries you want to do? Because failures can be predictable sometime, and sometimes they even can be unpredictable. So you need to think what kind of retry logic you want to incorporate. And also there is something important about failures. So you need to think about even the so there's something important about failures. You need to also think about what you want to log in case of any failure so that you can come to know what exactly is the issue. And then you can go back and see whether this issue can be fixed permanently, or in case it's not possible to fix the issue, at least you can log it better next time. Security. Security is one of the key things about any kind of architecture. So you have to implement least privilege principle and credential secret management. Now, secret management can be done automatically. There are certain architecture which you can create where the secrets are rotated automatically. We will discuss in future. Observability. There are so many tools in the market these days which take care of this. And why it's so important now? Because the number of pipelines, number of AI ML workloads, and the complexity of these pipelines, the complexity of the different processes we have across industry, it is very important to understand that the data is locked for any kind of pipeline run. There should be proper alert in place for the teams so that in case of any failure, the teams should be aware that a failure has happened. And also data lineage. Now, data lineage is from important due to multiple reasons. There are two type of lineage: business lineage and technical lineage. And what lineage helps? It will helps in understanding how the data is flowing across your organization, across different systems. So business lineage will give you a high level view, and technical lineage will give you a low level view. You will basically see what kind of transformation is performed across the systems for a particular data element. And we especially do it for critical data elements that is critical for the business. We will discuss all these points under data governance. So these are the key design decisions, and you should always keep in mind that pipeline is not just about creation, it's also about lots of maintenance and improving. Let's go to Fabric UI now. Okay, so this is my Fabric workspace called pipeline testing. We are going to create a new item called pipeline. Click on new item. Pipeline. Let's just use this name. Click on create. All right, so you will see this UI. Now this UI is similar to the one that you will see in Azure Data Factory in Azure, with some differences of course. So if you are from Azure, you will find it quite familiar. Now we have some interesting options here. We have activities, so the steps in a pipeline or what kind of operation you are going to perform in a pipeline, all handled with the help of some activities. Now we have lots of activities here. So if you click on three dots, you will see the complete list. And these activities are also clubbed under a group like move and transform activities, metadata and validation, control flows, orchestration, orchestrate, notification, transform, lakehouse, machine learning. So you can do lots of different activities here. But we will restrict ourselves to the activities list which we are going to discover today. First activity which we are going to discuss is web activity. We need to click on web activity. Then you will see these options. But let's quickly understand what other options we have. So under the run, you will see validate. This is for validating your design. In case of any kind of error, it will highlight those warnings or errors. There is even a run. When you want to run the pipeline, you need to click on that. You can also use it plus enter. If you want to schedule your pipeline, you need to click on schedule and then you can create a schedule. Even you can give email address when there is an issue with a run, then that particular email address needs to be notified, right? So there are even option to create triggers. This is using activator item, and you can create such item with a rule. Then we have something interesting called run history. So if you click here, you will see the run history. And under the view, you have added JSON. So ADF or this pipeline is just a JSON code. So when you select any kind of activity, when you do any kind of operation in the UI, it will generate the corresponding JSON code. So you can also edit this JSON code in case you are familiar with the structure. So this is the current code and it will keep on changing as we add more operations and steps to the pipeline. You can auto align, you can zoom to fit, you can zoom, all sort of possibilities exist. Now we have parameters, variables, settings, output, and library variables. So let's understand what is parameters. Now parameters are just like you can think of some kind of static values or some kind of URL. Suppose you have a. Now what is parameter? Parameter is something that won't change when the pipeline is run. So it can be a URL or any kind of limit parameter. Variables, these value can change. So you can create some variable and you can set those variable values. You can append variable values in case you are creating any kind of JSON data in a pipeline. Under the settings, you will see concurrency. So you can set it like the number of simultaneous pipeline runs that are fired for this particular pipeline. Output, you will see when it run, what kind of output you get. And library variables in a concept in Fabric where you are creating some kind of variable for CI/CD, and that variable can be used across different items like notebook, pipelines, etc. Okay, let's go back to our activities and we have web here. Now we are going to discuss briefly the general options. So these options remain same whatever activity you choose, and settings it will become different as you choose different activity. So general, it is a name. You can give a description so that other people can easily understand the purpose. There is activity state. You can activate or deactivate. If I deactivate, it will not run. That is a great feature. If I activate again, it will run. Is a timeout, so you can create a timeout. Default is 12 hours. Minimum can be 10 minutes and maximum can be 7 days. So be careful with a timeout. Then there's a retry. So you can give any number of attempts you want to try in case of any failures. Then is a retry interval. So the number of seconds it should wait before running the pipeline again in case of retry. So currently 30 seconds. It will wait for 30 seconds. Then there's secure output and input. So this is to hide the values when a pipeline is run. We will see this option. And under the settings, we need to create a connection. So that is similar to link service in ADF in case you are from Azure. And then we used to create some kind of data set. So link data set and link services. And here you can give the relative URL. So suppose you are giving a path, and then there is some other query parameters or path you can mention here. Under the method, we have REST API methods. So web activity is used basically for calling any kind of REST API, RESTful service. And REST APIs have certain methods, right? So you need to use certain methods depending on what exactly you are doing. In case you are fetching any data or selecting any data, you need to use get method. If you are creating any item, it will be post. If you are updating, put. If you are deleting, delete. And patch is also used in case of update, but whether you want to update partially or fully, that is the key decision you need to take between the post and patch. Worth reading about these methods in case you want to explore more. And under the advanced, we have HTTP request timeout. So this is timeout for the HTTP request to get a response. And there is a async pattern also that you can disable, and you can also disable certificate validation, which I will not recommend. Okay, so you can reduce or increase this area depending on your needs. Right, so let's just create a new connection. We will say browse all. Whenever you want to create a new connection, you need to use browse all. This is a bit confusing, and I want Fabric team to change this option. So click on browse all, click on web v2, and this time we are going to use a faker API. Now faker API, fake data, right? So we are going to just copy this path, and let's mention the faker UI. Now I have already created a connection before, so Fabric has identified that this connection exists. But let me create a new connection because I want to show you that option. And this we will just say connection name. So we'll just say again, or let's just say it's repeat, so I can identify. And authentication kind, there are certain options. If you want to choose anonymous, you can use in case of any public API. But most of the time we are going to use service principal, or even organizational account in case you are doing something in Fabric. Under the basic, you will see some username password option. But nobody use username password in case of APIs. So let's leave it as anonymous because we are going to use public API. And you can check this option in case you are dealing with on-premises data or any VNet data gateways. Click on connect. Okay, now let's talk about relative URL. And here, what I can do. This is my path which I have given. Now I need to give query parameters. So REST API has two types of parameter, the path parameters and query parameters, and each one of them serve different purpose. So if you want to apply any kind of filter, or if you want to restrict the data, we generally use a query parameter. So let's just copy this. You need to even copy the question mark that tells in case of REST API that these are query parameters. So I go to pipeline 2 and give it here. Of course, I can change this. Okay, you need to select an API method. So we are currently just doing a get. Let me just increase this area and click on new. So in case you want to pass any API key, you can pass it here. In case you want to pass any bearer token, you can pass it here. So we will say content type application, and these can be even dynamic. So this is something great about pipeline. Okay, so I have just given this. Let me say call, give it a meaningful name, fake API for address. You can even give a description here. All right, so this is fine. So once you are done with a particular activity, what you can do, you can just go to home and save it. So it will gather all your changes. Everything has been saved. Click on validate just to see whether there are any errors. So your pipeline has been validated. No errors were found. Click on close. And then we are going to just run now. Click on run. As soon you click on run, the fabric will create a running instance that will have a run ID. And this run ID can be used to track also in the future. So there are certain activity status. First is queued and then in progress. And after that, if it's successful, success, otherwise it's cancelled. In case of failure, it will be failed. So it's running now. And you can even export to a CSV file. You can turn off the auto refresh. It's auto refreshing currently. After it will continue to refresh for 5 minutes. That's a good option. Okay, it succeeded. You will see a tick mark here. Run succeeded. You can see the time, how much time it has taken. So 42 seconds. You can see the input as well, and run start time, and you can also see input. So input is method get, headers we have just passed application JSON, and relative URL we have passed quantity equal to 3. If you see the output, since we have mentioned quantity as 3, it will limit to 3 addresses, and these addresses are random. Please notice that. So if I run it again, this won't be same. Okay, each one of them has an ID, street, state name, building number, city, zip code, country, country code, latitude, longitude, and there are some other header options too. Okay, so we have seen how this API work, but this is uh, GET request, right? When you want to fetch some data. Let's see quickly how can we create a post request as well. So I'm going to just copy this just to, you can copy just to show you that Control C, Control V. And then I can add it as well. So I will say it's now call for address post. And in this case, what we are going to do, we are going to just use the same, but in this case, same connection because it's the same API, but address won't support post. So we need to use another API now, and that's why just delete this because we are not going to reuse. But I want to show you also that you can copy and paste these activities. Let's insert another activity. So we will again go on three dots and say it's a web. Let's just deactivate for some time. You can deactivate, it will not run now. And for this web, what we can do, we can again create a new connection. So go to browse all, click on web v2, and let's see this API. So JSON placeholder can be used to perform any kind of operation. I will post the description in the description of this video so that you can. I will post the URL of all everything important. So I'm going to post this URL, don't worry about it, in the description of the video. And here there are multiple resources. So in REST API, sometimes we define resources if you want to enable more functionality. Like you can create command, you can get command, you can delete command, you can update command, you can same with post, you can create, update, delete, same with album, photos, to-dos, users. Now when we go here, there is certain post, right? So we are going to use the post. But first of all, let's just use a get so that we can see the structure, right? So if you click on post, it will invoke the API since there is no authentication in place. It has a user ID, title, and body, right? So let's create a. We will just going to create this new connection. I will give this base URL. And then there's a token audience URI that is an interesting one that you can use for getting a token from Azure Key Vault. But in this case, we are not using this functionality. Let's create a new connection and authentication kind, leave it as anonymous. Let's click on connect. Great. So we need to give relative URL in this case because we are going to use per post resource. So slash is already there. If you remember, we can click on add it again and you can see the connection name and the base URL you provided here. So you can even update. So we are going to see posts. So say posts. And in this case, we are going to select the API method as post. So when you select post, it will even enable something called body of the payload. So it will also enable the body or the payload that you want to send to the endpoint. And this is think in terms of post or command. If you want to create any new command, you will provide the command data, right? It can be what is the actual command or who has posted that command. Any kind of data is possible in this. So we are going to just give a body. Let's just copy this and so just change it. You can increase the size, and here we can say it's let's give 1001. Don't worry, the API will take care. Actually, it will not create anything, but it will give you an impression that it's working. So we have an ID and we have a user ID, and this is title. It's some weird data, but we are not worried. We just want to understand how the post operation works. And again, in the header, you can give it content type. This can also change. You can send any kind of data, not just JSON. Most of the time it's JSON. Okay, so That makes sense. Let's just run it. But let's do one thing. Um, I'm going to do some mistake. So I will say post. Why I'm doing? Because I want to show you that retry option as well. So we will say retry 1 and another advance is 30, right? Let's just say 30, 20 seconds. Okay, let's click on validate. So activity retry interval like 10 or 20. Okay, it has to be 30. Yeah, I did mistake. So it scanned 30. So let's keep it 30 only and click on save. So when you save, anyway, it will validate. But let's run validate again. Not a problem. Run. Click on run now. So when you run this time, there is not this is not going to work because we have post, not post, right? We have this post. And when it will fail, it will again trigger another pipeline. You can see it's coming as inactive because it's a faker API. We have to disable it, right? But this one got failed. And let's see so it's just showing 2108 user configuration issue. You can see more description when you click on this link. That is even a pipeline status because it's retries enabled. So after 30 seconds, it has again submitted another run. And that is how the retry logic work. Hope you have understand. Because after 30 seconds, we have given the settings 30-second retry 1. So it will just retry one time. If you give 2, it will try 2 times. You can decide depending on your use case. Let's connect it now and give it posts. And this time, what we're going to do, we are going to run history because I also want to show you how you can rerun. So let's just click on save. Go to view run history. You can see your history, right? And here under the pipeline 2, it's failed, right? Let's go to pipeline 2. This instance, start time was 6:23. Let's click on that. Okay. So what we are going to do, rerun, right? You can rerun using this option. But important thing is when you rerun, there are some options. So rerun entire data pipeline, rerun from failed activity. If you have multiple activities in a pipeline, if you just want to run the failed activity, you should choose this option. Most of the time we are choosing this option. But in case of certain issues, I mean, you have created a pipe in such a way that you need to rerun the whole pipeline, then you need to select the rerun pipeline. Since we only have single activity, we can choose either of these options. But remember, it is important to understand what exactly you have created and how you are rerunning. So I'm just going to select rerun from failed activity. Are you sure want to rerun? Okay. You can also cancel the pipeline run. You can refresh. You can do lots of things here. So let's go to back to artifact. The status is queued. It will take some time. Run succeeded. Yeah. You can refresh and then you will be able to see here. So view run detail. Let's click on refresh. Okay, this is a previous run. So we need to go to view run history. and this time the status was saying not started, but actually it's completed. There's a mismatch currently happen in Fabric. Hope they will fix soon. So this is skipped, this is succeeded. So whatever activity is skipped because you are running from failed activity, that's why even though is inactive but showing as skipped. And it has run. You can see the output. We got the data. Let's see the input. The body we have created 1001. So in the response, we will see this data, and the important thing is response header and the code. Code is 201. So when resource is created in REST API, 201 is returned. But when you fetch the data, 200 is returned. All right, so we have seen how post work, and similar operations like nothing will change. You can even perform other operation like delete. Go to back to artifact. Now we are going to see how we can use filter activity, and for this we are going to just use the faker. So we'll deactivate this one and activate the previous one. And now let's see how can we use filter activity. So filter, as the name suggests, in case you want to filter some of the data. So we'll go to activities, click on three dots, and this time we are going to select filter. But we only want to filter when success, right? So on success, on fail, and on completion. You have three options here. So suppose you want to run other activity when it's success only, you need to select this. In case you want to do certain activity on failure, like you want to notify teams or you want to send an email, then you can use this option. And in completion, if you want to, irrespective of failure or success, then you need to use this option. So we are going to use on success. Just drag it with the and it will work. Now, if you want to align it, you always choose this auto align option here. Yeah, now it align properly. And under the filter, you need to mention the name of the activity. So we can say filter address data. Let's see this faker API again. So this is the API we are calling. And in this API, this data will change. So we can't search, frankly speaking, on the basis of city or zip code here because data keep on changing. It's random data, right? But what we can do, just filter the data for ID equal to 1 for this data block. So let me go here, go to settings, and another items. What we are interested is click on dynamic content. Now when you click on dynamic content, you can write your expressions, and there are multiple options here. So you have activity output, which is coming from the other activities. In this case, we have called faker API for address. You can see the name and the output as well, what we are going to use. In the parameters, you can use any parameters. In the system variables, you can use some system variables, which is provided by the Fabric team. So you can also use pipeline and ID, the time, trigger type, everything is possible. You have also trigger items like the folder path, the type, the window and time. And when you click on three dots, you will see further options. So there are functions there. If you go to functions, you can use some functions in this expression. This is similar to what we use in logic apps and even in Power Automate. This is same. And there are other options, variables. So you can see what all variables are available in case you have defined some kind of variable, and even library variables, trigger parameters, everything is possible. So let's go to functions here, and not functions, let's just go to activity output first and click on this. So when you click on this, you will see this option. Now what it will fetch the output of this API, and output will be like this. But what we are interested in, only data, right? So we can give like this, dot data. You need to know your structure well. You can even use a tool like Postman to run this API once and get familiar with the API in case you are working on something new and somebody has created that API, some other team. So let's click on data. So this is going to be the item, and what is going to be the condition here, right? So we are going to just filter when a user is one, right? So for item, so let's just say go to three dots and functions. What we are filtering is just, so we can just say it's a different type of functions possible, and in this case we are going to use something called logic functions. So logic function, I'm just showing you there are lots of possibilities. In case you want to search, you can search here. So I will say equal, and equals here. You can see the syntax. So it will take two parameters and it will check if it's equal or not. So what we are going to do, we are going to use equals here and click on that, and just that you need to use the items, right? So we are going to say item, then you need to see something like item. You're getting option, just select this item option, and after that you can say item. Under the item you will be able to access this one, right? This data. So item, then you need to give dot here as well, dot, right? Dot id, and then it's equal to 1. So if it's equal to 1, filter that data. Click on OK. Let's validate. Go to home and validate. So it's successful. Click on save. But remember, we are using filter, so it will only filter this one. We have given the limit as 3, right? Okay, that's fine. So let's just run. So this is succeeded, and filter also succeeded. Let's see the input of filter. You will see your expression, items and condition both. And then in the output, if you see this, you will be able to see only id equal to 1 because we have done filtering. Now in case of web, if you see the output, sorry, we need to see for this one. So if you see this, we have id1, id2, id3, right? So 3, but we are filtering only 1. So you can use filter when you want to use any kind of filter logic. Okay, let's understand the functions activity now. So what we are going to do, we are going to use a function activity. Let's go to activities, click on three dots and functions. So a functions activity will be created in the UI. When you click on functions activity, there is certain option again. You can provide retry and everything. And then in the type, this is something important. You have Fabric user data functions and Azure function. So you can choose depending on your needs. Fabric user data functions created inside Fabric. Azure function needs to be created in the Azure portal. You need to create a connection. So let me create a connection. Now I can use any previous connection as well. So go to browse all, click on user data function as the source, and we are going to create a new connection. So we will just call one and let's use the organizational account. You will only see one option in this case. So just authenticate. There is also privacy level you can choose depending on the needs. Click on connect. So a new connection will be created. And then you can select the workspace. Remember, you need to give proper permission in case the function is in another workspace. But we have just created a function in the same workspace. So we are going to select the pipeline testing user data function. This is the user data functions. In case you want to explore more about user data functions, I have already created some videos. Please watch them. I will mention in the description as well. And then you need to select the function. So we have created two functions, hello fabric 2. Let me show you. So hello fabric this function and hello fabric 2 is another one. Hello.fabric function is very simple. It will take a list argument and return that list along with the message and the timestamp, the current timestamp. Whereas the fabric2 function will take input as a string, return a string, and it's simple. It will be a just kind of simple string that will be returned. So we are going to use first the list one. So hello fabric. Let's go to pipeline 2 and select it's hello fabric. You need to provide now this parameter. So depending on your signature of your method, the options will come in the pipeline. In this case, it's list. So we are getting a list. Let me show you. If I choose the fabric2, it will change to string. But it will not show you if it is mandatory or optional. So remember that. So I need to select the fabric, and what I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to have a list, right? So let me just connect. So on success only. And in this case, now I can see the dynamic data. So let me just increase the size. And this time, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pass the output of filter access data. Click on OK. All right, so this is fine. So what it will do, it will invoke this function and it will return just the data, which is output of filter access address data. Click on save. And run. It's running now. Cute. In progress. So this will tell you it's running, this icon. it will change to tick, or fail, it will try to cross. Again, now the functions get queued. So filter does it has worked. Function is executing in progress. All done. So let's see the filter address data output. So output is just the ID because we have filtered only the ID starting with 1. And in this case, the input is the items count, that is 3. Filter items count, that is 1 only, and the data is of course the one which is related to ID 1. And let's see the output now. So output, it's going to be URL. You can check the data using this URL when you click on that. Invocation ID, status succeeded, and output. Just see the output is the whole data, right? That you will see here. Let's go to monitoring URL. I just wanted to show you. You can see the invocation ID, the timestamp, everything here. We have done a mistake. What is this mistake? Let's see. So, okay, let's see the output of filter first. Then only we will come to know. So if you see the output, it's the complete output, right? The value. But here, if we see the fabric, we are just passing the output, and in this case it's a list, right? Why it's a list? Because okay, so we need to give value, right? Then only it will fetch this particular part, right? We need to change little bit. So we will just say output, and then we will say it's a value part we are interested. Click on OK. Click on save. Let me show you again the problem. So what we see here, it's the items count, filter item counts, and the value like this, right? That is not the right one. So we need to we have changed the logic so that we will only extract the value part, and this is a list. Hope guys you have understand. Yeah. Okay, so let's just, it's already saved. We have changed it. Again, I'm showing you. We are just using now value because that is actually a list. And run now. This time it should be proper. Now the functions will run, and this time we will see the right output. So input is great. Let's see the output this time. And we are seeing the list now. Of course, there is a single item, but that's fine. It has worked as expected this time. Right, so we have seen how can we filter data and how can we use a function activity. But let's now do something interesting. So what we are going to do for each of these items, like suppose I have a use case, and for each of these I want to invoke the function. But in this case, I want to return just the city part. Yeah. Let's see how can we do. And this time we are going to use for each activity. So let's go to activities, click on three dots, and for each activity we are going to use under control flow. So for each, and this activity is just like a for loop. So whenever you create any pipeline, think in terms of procedural programming, then everything become easy, but you just need to use the right activity. Let me show you what exactly I mean. So this is my Python code. We are using request to call the API, again in this case at address API quantity 3. Then we are changing it to Python structure dictionary 1 JSON, and we are only selecting data. So this is a dictionary, so we can do like this, and this is just the data part, right? So what exactly I mean, this part, same thing we are doing in pipeline as well. And after that, if I want to filter, I am filtering in using a list comprehension, and only for the cases where the ID is 1. So similar thing you are doing in pipeline. So always think in terms of the code. You will find it extremely easy to create any kind of complex pipeline. That's how I think. So this is same what we are doing in pipeline. Okay, let's use the for each activity now. So for each address, let me say for each address, click on three settings. Now if you want to make it sequential, you can. In certain cases we need to use this option. Even batch count, the maximum number of parallel runs you can give if there is no impact when you're running it parallelly. And items is mandatory one, so we need to use the output of this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to deactivate this one and this one as well, because now I'm using this. And let me just keep it like this. I can use, of course, auto align, and let me just create, yeah, auto align. So everything aligned properly now. And this time what we are doing, we are just selecting an item, so we are interested in data part, right? So again we are going to do select this and data, click on OK. Now everything, the data part will come to this loop, and in this case what we are interested is we are going to invoke our function, right? So click on edit and choose functions. So functions we are going to select now, and again in this case we are going to choose fabric data function. We have created a new connection called this, so we are going to use this, but this time we are going to use the other function, the fabric 2. Why? Because we are just returning a, we are just passing a string. And what is the string here? We are going to pass the city. So how we are going to pass the city, right? It's easy. We can just increase this area and click on add dynamic content. So for each item, this will fetch your data part, and here I just need, I'm interested in city. Click on OK. So only city. Let's go back to JSON, and we are fetching data first and then the city part only. You can choose, of course, any one of these. Now, one classic use case of using user data function is maybe for data quality checks. So that's fine. I think everything is there. Now you can see the function. In case you have a complex pipeline, you don't want to see the nested operation, you can hide it as well. So it has hide it, and if I click it again, it will show me the nested operations. So I will go to home and save it. This time, what it will do, it will submit three functions. Why? Because it's a loop. This is now let's see even the code part once. So if we go to view and see the JSON. So JSON will be much more complex now what we have seen before, and you can see this state there inactive. And I use JSON especially when I need to change lots of description, sometimes even variable names. Everything become quite easier. So I can choose this function. Let me just show you that it will also work. So I can, but in this case, I need to ensure that I am changing the function at all places, right? In case they are references. So we don't have anything, but let me show you the better way. So I will just choose functions, one, function set ID is not functions, it's function two. Okay, let's choose function two. And this time there is only one stand, so that's fine. So we are going to say it's function two. It's we can say for each address and invoke function 2. Let's change it to invoke. So invoke function 2. And let's change this timeout as well because I want to show you it will work. Click on OK. Let's see. So it has become invoke function 2, and of course it has changed the settings as well. Let me click here, general settings. You can see the change. Great. So I just wanted to show you that even possible to add a JSON in case you are familiar with structure. Click on save and let's run it and validate as well and run. Remember, this time there will be three functions that will be triggered, and we didn't make it sequential, so each one of them triggered in parallel. So it's running API. Three got triggered, all are in queued. Great. All activities are inactive. You can see. So two completed. Third one is still running. Everything done. Let's just see the output. So output, it should be a city name, right? It has populated correctly. Second, it will be another city name, North Justin. These all. And third one is North Jet. How we can confirm? Go to web output. So this is an active called faker for addresses. This one. and you can see the city name. So city name is not Justin, not Jed, and Olgaland. Everything happened in perfect manner. Okay, so we have seen how even for each activity work. Now let's see how we can use if activity. Okay, let's create this time some kind of parallel flow. So go to activities and if conditions. That is the if. So it has an if and false. So for simple if else, you should use if condition. For complex one, you need to use switch. And I'm just going to connect this. Again, it will open a panel which you can edit. And this time it will be a true or false. So we need to give an expression. If it's evaluated to be true, it will run. If it's false, it will not run. So figure API, let's see. Um, we will just use it for code because this is all array, right? So we can't use it directly, or we need to specify the item, but we will do with code. So I will just say add dynamic content output dot code, and it will be always 200, right? But we can check for other code as well, then it will go to false. So if true, right? If something happened true, what do you want? So I just want to, okay, let's just invoke function this time because it has to be something. If it's true, so expression output code, but this is not going to work because we have to check for equals, right? So let's just go to the function. You can also do like this equals, and then in the equal I just select this, become this, take the cursor to that location where you want to use this, and here I will say 200. So now if it equal to 200, it will be true, else it is false. And under true, you need to do certain things. So you need to choose an activity. Let me just choose that function again. So function, and this time what we are going to do, we are going to choose the again the second function, but let me show you how can we use even parameter, right? So to home, new, and I will just say static value, and the value, let me just say the string, maybe is a testing, just showing how we can use it. Let's go to the edit, invoke function 2, and here, oh, this is main canvas, so we are not doing this. We are just doing it this time for if, right? So we need to select this, click on this, and now we are going to use parameter. in this case. So we are passing parameter. So add dynamic content, trigger parameters, then we have parameters here, static value. What it will do, it will pass this value now, that is static. And think of it, you can even pass URL like things here, right? Okay, so we have done this, and what it will do, it will run the, let's click on auto align, and this time when it's true, it execute this, and false, it will do nothing. Let's click on save and run. Now this will do a lot of things because we have enabled this. It will do the for each part as well. It will run if condition. So two parallel flows now. Click on run. Need to pass the parameters. So default value is testing. We are fine. Click on run. Okay. So it's running the Faker API, and now notice the two flows will be triggered for each and if in parallel once it finishes execution, this particular activity. So if condition succeeded, for each is still in progress because these three are queued. Parallel, and you can think of, you can create any kind of complex flows, parallel, sequential, depending on your needs. Okay, everything executed. Let's go to see what happens in if case, right? The reason is I don't see the function to call here. Maybe it's down. So let's see the if output and input. So if is, oh, there is no input and there is no output. I think something is wrong. Let's quickly see what happened. If condition, we are saying equals to output, and this output, I guess it's string. No, this is not string. Oh, we forget to give code here. That's why it happened. Click on OK. Click on save. Now run it again. Testing, it's fine. So it will be a new run. So if in progress, this time we will see functions too, isn't it? So everything worked as expected this time. Both of them triggered in parallel as well. Functions too succeeded. Great. Everything worked as expected this time. So if you want to see the functions too, let me show you the output. So we have passed the parameter in this case, and this is the value we have passed. Great. And again, there will be some random city names which will be coming here, and every time it's different because it's the fake data, right? So it's sending some fake data, random data. Great. Now let me show you. So fast didn't execute this time, but what we can do, we can just click on this edit to make that false run this time. And what I'm going to do, you need to select if. So everything's becoming bit. If condition, activities, condition, expression, change it to 201 because it will not be going to work this time. And this time the false will execute. Of course, there is no activity, but true will not execute this time if we run it again. Let's just disable this because I don't want to paste the capacity units. Okay, let's run. Static pass, static 111. When I say static for parameter, it means that it will true about the whole pipeline, right? It will not be true for, will not be able to change basically that you can do in variable. So you can change the value of a variable, but you can't change the value of a pipeline parameter in a pipeline in any of these activities. It succeeded, and it will submit the if condition. This time you can see the functions didn't execute. Why? Because it has gone to false. Okay, so great. We have done a lot of things today. Let's understand at the end the switch activity. So we are going to use now switch activity in this case. And switch, let's select switch. This activity will give you the ability to write multiple conditions. So I can select a case, and again let me select this case. So I will just select the same expression which I have used in if. So if I go to if, copy this, but in this case I will just select this code. Okay, we will write again, not a problem. So in this case, let add dynamic content, and we are going to, okay, we didn't connect. First you need to connect, so just connect on success. And in this case, now dynamic, click on add dynamic content. This time it's good. So we have a default case, and then we have a case 1. So case 1 is, let's just say it's 200. Case 2 is, you can have a number of cases, 201, and then we have something called default. Now for each one of these you need to have certain activities, right? Switch expression, we are using that. Let me just add again a function. So functions, and this time the function, when we are saying function 3, of course you can give a better name if you like, and we are going to just use the same function again. So fabric 2, and this time let's just give again the code option. So code, we are passing just the code value. Okay, so we have given one. The second case, Oops, we have added in default. Let's just edit it. This is the default case. Okay, this is the default case, so it's fine. Now in the switch, let's go to switch. Go to switch. And under the 200, add a function. So we have this case, but we need to add a activity, right? So let's just click on plus and add functions. Click on add and choose function. You need to add it, click on add it, and then you can choose this function. That's what the challenge sometimes when you have multiple activities. So you can use the JSON code editor, but you need to familiar with the whole structure first. So hello fabric 2, let me pass just the code part again. So this and code. This is fine, I guess. Let me now delete this because I don't want, and I'll show you. So it we have deleted. We have deleted, and let me just auto align. Yeah, let me even delete this one now. Auto align. Now it's fine. A lot of things which became it. So switch have at least one activity. Okay, so validation got failed. Close. So it should have one activity. What means for this one? Let's again choose functions. This time we are going to choose this function, add it. Click on this pencil icon to add it, and choose this Ravi user data function, hello fabric 2. Here again add the code. So click on dynamic content, select address, add code. Click on OK. Great. Now there will be no validation error. Yeah. Click on save. So each of these activities is validated in a different way. Now let's just run it and show you how we can use switch. So it's 200. So the case 1 should execute this one. Function 4. It failed. Let's see what is the reason. So activity failed because an inner activity failed. Okay. So what is the inner activity which got failed? Let's see. Let's see the input. We get nothing. Let's see, because it will be 200, right? So inner activity fail. Now this is the bad part. You won't see exactly what will happen. Let's see the output of this. So we have code as 200. That is fine. That is coming as expected. what is the problem here? Let's go to the switch and this one. What is the problem with switch? We have chosen code, that is fine. Now here things will get tricky because when you want to see the error message, it will just show you that activity failed because an inner activity failed. But which inner activity? You won't be able to see. Click on pipeline status, activity failure. Now which activity? We don't know. It has not shown you anything. Let's go to switch and click on default. Let's see what we have here. Hello fabric 2 is only present and this is a string. Okay, so this is a string we are passing, right? We're passing a string. But code is integer. So function conversion string. Okay, so we can give like this, right? Let me cover with this string. Okay, and in this again, let's go to function 3. Not sure I have changed this one or the other one. Yeah, let's just copy. String activity is all right. So let's just copy this one and we will just say just use the next one. So let's just change this as well. And in the main canvas, in the third one as well, we need to change. Click on pencil, activities. Oh, made a mistake. Switch 201 pipeline 2. So we need to go to the pipeline 2. Pipeline. Okay. Click on edit. Function 5. Select it. Then change this as well. Validate. And run. So call succeeded, switch is now running, it again failed. Alright, so switch needs a string. So what we need to do, we need to change this expression. Yeah, that's the reason. So we need to use this, change this expression, and then because we have already convert this expression, yeah, now it's fine. So it needs a string. It has to be a string. Click on save and run. This time it's working. And switch, we have function 4 succeeded. So function 4 executed. What is function 4? It's 200 case. Great. In case none of these conditions satisfy, then default case will be executed. And let me just show you the output of function as well. This time we have passed the code, so it's 200. Great.